The year is 2025, and a trade war is raging. On one side we have the United States, a global economic powerhouse. On the other we have China, a rising economic giant. The battlefield, global trade, the weapons of choice, tariffs. These tariffs, essentially taxes on imported goods, are at the heart of the dispute. They have far-reaching consequences, impacting businesses, consumers, and the global economy as a whole. This is not a war fought with guns and bombs, but make no mistake, the stakes are high. This trade war has the potential to disrupt global supply chains, stifle economic growth, and fuel political tensions. In this complex and ever-evolving landscape, one question looms large: who is really paying the price for this trade war? To understand the impact, we need to understand the tariffs themselves. The United States, under the Trump administration, imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. These tariffs covered a wide range of products, from steel and aluminum to electronics and consumer goods. China, not one to back down, retaliated with its own tariffs on U.S. goods. These tit-for-tat tariffs have escalated over time. The initial rounds targeted specific industries, but the scope has broadened. We're now in a situation where both sides have imposed tariffs on a significant portion of each other's imports. This escalation has created uncertainty in the global market, making it difficult for businesses to plan for the future. The most immediate impact of this trade war is economic. Both the United States and China are feeling the heat. In the US, certain industries like manufacturing are facing higher costs for raw materials. This is because many of these materials were previously imported from China. These higher costs are squeezing profits and forcing some businesses to raise prices. China is also feeling the pinch. The tariffs imposed by the US have made Chinese goods more expensive in the American market. This has hurt Chinese exporters, who are now struggling to compete with domestic producers. The trade war has also slowed economic growth in China, which is heavily reliant on exports. Businesses caught in the crossfire are scrambling to adapt. Some companies are absorbing the increased costs, at least in the short term, to remain competitive. Others have no choice but to pass these costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices. This is particularly true for businesses that rely heavily on imported goods from China. The uncertainty surrounding the trade war is also making it difficult for businesses to plan for the future. Investment decisions are being delayed, expansion plans are being put on hold. This uncertainty is further compounded by the possibility of new tariffs or changes in trade policy. Businesses are essentially operating in a constant state of flux. Section 5. Jobs on the line, who bears the brunt? The trade war isn't just an abstract economic concept, it has real-world consequences for real people. One of the most concerning impacts is the potential for job losses. In the United States, manufacturing jobs already in decline are particularly vulnerable. As companies face higher costs and reduced demand, they may be forced to lay off workers. In China, the export sector is a major employer. The tariffs imposed by the US have already led to job losses in industries like textiles and electronics. As the trade war drags on, more jobs are at risk. The livelihoods of millions of workers are hanging in the balance. Section 6. Political playbook, maneuvering, and rhetoric. The trade war is as much about politics as it is about economics. Both the United States and China are using tariffs as leverage to achieve their respective economic and political goals. The Trump administration, for example, has framed the trade war as a necessary step to protect American jobs and intellectual property. China, on the other hand, views the tariffs as an attempt to contain its economic rise. The Chinese government has responded with a mix of retaliatory tariffs and economic stimulus measures. The trade war has become a key point of contention in the already complex relationship between the two superpowers. Section 7. The consumer crunch, paying the price. While businesses and workers are on the front lines of this trade war, consumers are not immune to its effects. As businesses pass on the increased costs of tariffs to consumers, the prices of everyday goods are rising. This is particularly noticeable for durable goods like cars and appliances, which rely heavily on imported components. The trade war has also led to a decrease in the availability of certain products. As tariffs make imported goods more expensive, consumers may find fewer choices on store shelves. This is particularly true for specialty items or products that are primarily manufactured in China. Section 8. The Global Ripple Effect, Beyond US-China Borders. The trade war between the United States and China is not a localized skirmish. It has sent shockwaves through the global economy. Countries that rely heavily on trade with either the United States or China are feeling the impact. For example, countries that export raw materials to China are seeing a decline in demand as Chinese manufacturing slows. The trade war has also fueled uncertainty in global markets. This uncertainty makes it difficult for businesses to make investment decisions and plan for the future. The longer the trade war drags on, the greater the risk of a global economic slowdown. Section 9. Conclusion. A looming threat or a path to resolution. The trade war between the United States and China is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. It has already had a significant impact on businesses, workers, consumers, and the global economy. The question now is whether this trade war will continue to escalate or whether the two sides can find a path to resolution. Finding a resolution will require both sides to compromise and find common ground. The stakes are high. A prolonged trade war could have devastating consequences for the global economy. It is in the best interests of all parties involved to find a way to de-escalate the situation and return to a more predictable and cooperative trading relationship.